To divide fractions without using a model, we have to use the algorithm. And the algorithm for dividing fractions is that we always want to rewrite the problem so that we are multiplying the dividend by the reciprocal of the divisor. So in this problem, I have 5/6 divided by 2/3. I want to take my dividend, which is 5/6, and I want to multiply it by the reciprocal of my divisor. If my divisor is 2/3, the reciprocal is basically just the flipped version of 2/3. So it's 3/2. So I'm going to take my dividend of 5/6 and multiply it by the reciprocal, which is 3/2. Now I'm going to multiply straight across. 5 times 3 gives me 15, and 6 times 2 gives me 12. Now I can take this because I noticed that it's an improper fraction, and I can divide. So if I divide 15 by 12, I know that if I divide 15 by 12, I'm going to get 1. 1 times 12 gives me 12, and I have a remainder of 3. To write this as a mixed number, I always start with my quotient, which is my whole number. So this is going to be 1 and then I'm going to have 3 as my numerator out of 12 as my denominator. Now, this is almost finished, except that I know that 3 and 12 can both be divided by 3, which means this fraction can be simplified. So I'm going to divide both of these by 3. Now when I do that, that does not change my whole number. So my whole number is still 3. When I do 3 divided by 3, I get 1. And when I do 12 divided by 3, I get 4. So the solution to 5/6 divided by 2/3 is 1 and 1/4. Now let's look at 1/4 divided by 3/5. I'm going to multiply my dividend of 1/4 by the reciprocal of my divisor of 3/5. So the reciprocal of 3/5 is going to be 5/3. Now I'm just going to multiply straight across. 1 times 5 is 5, and 4 times 3 is 12. This is not an improper fraction, so I don't have to divide. And if I look at 5 and 12, they do not have any factors in common except for 1. So because of that, my solution here is going to be 5/12. Now let's look at 4 and 1/5 divided by 2 and 1/2. Whenever I have mixed numbers, I have to change them into improper fractions before I can start multiplying or dividing. So I'm going to start by changing 4 and 1/5 into an improper fraction. To do that, I'm going to multiply the denominator times the whole number, and then I'm going to add the numerator. 5 times 4 is 20, and then 20 plus 1 is 21. The denominator will stay the same, so the denominator remains 5. Now let's do the same thing with 2 and 1/2. I'm going to multiply my denominator of 2 times my whole number of 2, and then I'm going to add that to my numerator of 1. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5. So this is 5/2 because my denominator stays the same. So if I rewrite my problem, it actually says 21/5 divided by 5/2. Now that I have improper fractions instead of mixed numbers, now I can use my algorithm for dividing, which says to multiply by the reciprocal of the divisor. So I'm going to keep 21/5 and I'm going to multiply it by the reciprocal of 5/2. And the reciprocal of 5/2 is 2/5. Now all I have to do is multiply straight across. 21 times 2 is 42, and 5 times 5 is 25. Now if I look at this, I notice that this is an improper fraction, so I need to change it to a mixed number. And to do that, I'm going to divide 42 divided by 25. I know that 25 will go into 42 only one time, and if I do 1 times 25, I get 25. Then I am left with a remainder of 17. So to write this as a mixed number, I'm going to start with my whole number of 1, and then I'm going to have my numerator of 17 over my denominator of 25. Now I need to check this, and when I look at this, I know that 17 is a prime number, so it will not share any factors with 25. So my solution is going to be 1 and 17/25. Now let's look at 5/8 divided by 6. In this case, I'm taking my dividend of 5/8 and multiplying it by the reciprocal of 6. Now at first glance, it looks like 6 isn't even a fraction, so how can I flip it? But I know that every whole number has a 1 underneath it, because if I do 6 divided by 1, I get 6. So the reciprocal of 6, or 6 over 1, is actually going to be 1/6. So I'm going to take my 5/8 and multiply by the reciprocal of 6, which is 1/6. Now I'm going to multiply straight across. 5 times 1 is 5, and 8 times 6 is 48. This is not an improper fraction, so I don't have to divide. And 5 is a prime number, so it will not share any factors with 48. So this is in simplest form, 5 over 48. Now our last problem says 12 divided by 5/6. In this problem, I'm going to need to multiply the dividend of 12 by the reciprocal of 5/6. And I know that the reciprocal of 5/6 is 6 over 5. Now, what I need to remember is that when I have a whole number, again, I always have a denominator of 1. Now I can multiply straight across. So 12 times 6 gives me 72, and 1 times 5 gives me 5. Now this is an improper fraction, so I'm going to want to divide to make it into a mixed number. So 72 divided by 5. 7 divided by 5 is 1, and when I do 1 times 5, I get 5, and when I subtract, I'm left with 2. Now I have a 2 that I need to bring down. When I do 22 divided by 5, I get 4. 4 times 5 is 20, and when I subtract 22 minus 20, I get 2. Now I don't have anything left to bring down, so that means I still have this remainder of 2. That means that I'm going to have a whole number of 14, and then I'm going to have a numerator of 2 over a denominator of 5. So 14 and 2/5 is going to be my solution.